Hey everyone, North Central here. Thanks for tuning in, I appreciate it. As you can see, we're back out here at the potato planter where I wanted to start off. And if you've noticed, the potatoes are doing fantastic. I've got stalks coming up everywhere. Now, I did put another board on. It's about a 3.5, 4-inch board. I went ahead and put about 5 inches of soil in this, maybe 6 inches of soil on top. I did that before the weekend. It was around Thursday or Friday of last week. And then of course I had to leave for the weekend, but they're doing really well. Same soil I've been using, the peat moss, the vermiculite, mix that together with sort of a compost tea, a concoction that I come up with, and the potatoes are doing great. Now these in the potato planter are Yukon Golds. The ones up front in the buckets are a different type. They're Potomac Reds, and these are my favorite eating potatoes. Those would have to be my second favorite eating potatoes. So doing them two different ways here, one in the potato planter and of course in the buckets like I did last year. Hopefully they'll do well. I went ahead and put more dirt in the buckets as well, and they're doing great too. So I'm gonna give you a quick tour of the rest of the garden, so hang in there. I want to give you a quick update of the global style buckets here. These are self-watering buckets fed from this container here. This is a super chili, this is an orange habanero, and of course that one down there is the Dettol. They all seem to be doing pretty good. Now over the weekend we had some frost, unfortunately, and of course I wasn't here. So if you look at some of the plants, some of the leaves have fallen off the orange habanero here. It's still got good top leaves, so I have high hopes for it to make it. The Dettol over there seems to be doing pretty good as well, but they were hit by a little bit of frost, as were the rest of the garden. So if you see some dying leaves, don't get too nervous. But all in all, they're doing well. This one's actually putting off flowers, so hopefully I'll be getting some peppers on it pretty soon. This is the super chili. The orange habanero and the Dettol don't have flowers or anything on them yet, but they're still growing, so hopefully they'll do well. Okay, this is the Mexican Serrano, and this one, if I'm not mistaken, is the Trinidad Scorpion. And the one down there on the very end was a bell pepper, and the bell pepper got hit by the frost, and I don't think it's going to make it. We'll see. It's got one real little tiny green leaf on it, but we'll see how it does. The Serrano wasn't hit very bad at all. The bottom leaves did fall off. This one may fall off, but it's got the top ones, and it's growing as well as it ever has. This Trinidad Scorpion is doing well. Got a little bit of brown spots over here on this back leaf over here, but all in all, it's doing pretty good. And of course, the bell pepper, we'll see how that goes. Alright guys, this is a new addition that I put in since my last video. This is just some scrap 1x6s that I had, and I decided I wanted to put another little raised bed out here. Of course, it's filled with the peat moss, vermiculite, and compost. In this corner up here, of course, is a tomato plant that I'm growing. That's the super sauce tomato. I put one there. And this little plant right here, this is a pumpkin from my youngest son. I told him he could have two plants he wanted to plant, and he said a pumpkin and a watermelon, Daddy. So this is his plant. This is a pumpkin. I just stuck it in here just to stick it in here, see how it would do. I'll probably have the vine growing up on the deck or something, I don't know. The front row here, these are all beets. And the back row, all the way down, these are all pickling cucumbers, Boston pickles. As you can see, some of them got hit by the frost, but they are putting out new leaves, so hopefully they'll do well. I did replant like here and here, and some down here on the end where I knew I would have gaps and openings. I did replant some, so hopefully they'll come up. I do plan on the back here putting up some trellis so that they'll be able to climb up. Probably the plastic, some type of a plastic trellis or something to go up on the back here, some type of white stuff. But I have high hopes for this up here with the beets and the cucumbers. This back here gets a lot of sun. This is probably the most, in the evenings at least, this is where the sun is. So hopefully this will do real well. Okay, these 4 buckets here, these are not self-watering. They just have some holes down here in the bottom, and I just got done watering everything. That's in case you're wondering why everything's kind of wet. This is the bell pepper. It's little. If you remember, whenever I was growing them, I had a hard time getting some of the peppers to start, and then I got the bell peppers, and so these are actually latecomers. I planted these about a month after I planted the other ones. So, but it's putting off new growth and looks like it's going to make it okay. This here is another super chili, and of course it's got flowers on it too. So, you know, hopefully they'll do pretty good and start producing peppers. This down here is a orange habanero, and it got hit a little bit by the frost, but not as much as the others. Maybe because it was in this bucket with the soil down about 4 inches off the sides. So hopefully it'll do pretty good. And of course this is a watermelon for my son. And we'll see how that does in a container. Okay, well, my son's strawberry, the Ozark strawberries, still doing well. The top plant is really putting out new growth, and the sides are starting to put out some good growth as well. No strawberries on it yet right now. We ate the last one over right before the weekend. However, I expect it to be putting out some new flowers, and maybe in a week or two we'll have some more strawberries. Okay, well, this was a orange habanero, and it was doing really well until the frost hit it, and as you can see, it is trashed now. So I'll be taking this out of here and using the soil for something else. This is the Praxenstein pepper. This is the pepper I did last year. Got from Ray at the Praxis channel, and it got hit by a little bit of frost as well. You can see this leaf here is getting discolored and will probably end up falling off, but the rest of them are pretty green, and it's even putting out new growth here at the top. This is one vigorous little plant. It just grows something crazy. I planted this one also about a month after I planted the Natal and the Trinidad Scorpion and the orange habaneros, and this thing is just exploding. So again, I have really high hopes for this plant to do well. Yep, this is my container corn. Now this one and this one were of the first ones that I planted, and the first video that I did with the garden tour, these hadn't come up yet, but these two came up. None of the other ones did, so I replanted it, and of course I've got growth coming up now in all 3 buckets. So I have high hopes for the corn. I'll let you know how they do in the videos to come. Okay, so this is another Serrano pepper, and it got hit a little bit by the frost as well, but it's still putting up and still going strong. This is another Trinidad Scorpion, and yep, that leaf just fell off. So it got hit a little bit, but the other leaves are doing good. I expect this one to take off. And of course the last one way over here, this is another bell pepper. Of course it's small, so we'll see how it does. And of course I have to have at least one tomato in my hanging upside down turveys here, or turvey, or whatever they call it. It got hit by the frost. You can see the leaves here curling under, and there was a couple other limbs on there. The leaves are just gone, so I went ahead and took them off. But all in all, it looks like it might do okay. Leaves here got a little bit of brown on them, but I think it's going to take off. It's got new growth coming out of it, so I think it's going to be okay. Okay, so here we are at the side of the house, and of course this is the broccoli, the lettuce, the tomatoes, and everything else up through there. And as you can see, everything's just doing really well out here. It's coming up, especially the lettuce. The lettuce is just exploding here. But I'll give you a close-up of each thing. Here's the broccoli, and I thinned it out to just 5 plants, 1 in each corner and 1 in the middle. Doing well, putting off new growth. Hopefully we'll get some broccoli later. The lettuce bed, I have 3 rows of Black Simpson lettuce. It's good, it's wet, I just watered them. The tomato back here in the tomato cage, and as if you can see, they're starting to put off little flower buds. Some of them have actually even bloomed. Kind of get a mixture of what's going on here. This is the bell pepper. It's not doing very good. Looks like something's been eating the crap out of it. These are the beets. Nothing eating them. They're doing well. This is the marigold that I put in here to help try and get the deer out of here. Although I've never really had a deer problem in this bed. This is carrots, and of course the tomatoes back here. And this tomato right here actually bloomed, and hopefully we'll start forming a tomato. Yeah. And then there was garlic. The garlic is doing extremely well. It's getting really big, starting to yellow a little bit down here, but the stalks coming up here are nice and green. This is probably from the frost, for how cold it was, and then also from maybe a little bit of lack of water. Tomato plants again doing well. They do have some brown spots on them where they got hit by the frost a little bit, but again, you know, they are putting out flowers. There's a flower right there, so they're still growing and hanging in there and doing well. Okay, so that's pretty much the end, at least as far as the garden's concerned. I wanted to end the video here by my rainwater catchment, the rain barrel, because I wanted to show you this. This thing's empty and the nozzle's on. So I'm out of water and there's not any really rain in the forecast for the next week. So now I'm forced to go inside, get 5-gallon buckets of water from tap inside my house, which has chlorine in it. And of course I'll have to let it set for about 24 hours to let the chlorine evaporate out of it. And then of course I can water my garden. I don't have to do that day after day after day until it rains and this thing fills back up again. Well, that's just not adequate. I did it last year and I said I was going to change the system and I didn't do it. And here it is this year and I'm behind the curve again. So I'm going to start a new series. It's going to be rainwater catchment system. The way that I do it, I'm going to do it in phases. I don't know how long it's going to take. It might take a few weeks. It might take, God, it might take a few years. You know, just like everybody else, I'm on a budget whenever I do this. I still have my family to think about and things that they need. You know, I have a house payment, car payment, like, you know, like a lot of Americans do. So this is going to be budgeted out just like everything else that I do. I've already started saving a little bit for it, but I'm actively looking right now for some 200 to 300 gallon water totes that have the aluminum frames around them, and that's what I'm looking at using. I want 2 of them. I'm not going to settle with 1. I definitely want 2. I might settle with 1 at the beginning, but I'm definitely going to upgrade it to 2. I'm going to use a Flush First water filtration system. It's going to go on the side of the house here where my gutter is. Put gutter guards on, and I want to get some really good clean water, because in a pinch I may have to drink this sometime if the water ever goes out. So I want as clean as I can get for me to be able to filter it or purify it for me to drink. But for the most part it's going to be used for my garden. But that's going to be a later video, something in the future. I appreciate you all hanging around and going through the tour of the garden. And this is North Central. Thanks for watching.